Throughout the history of man, war and strife have always been a major transforming factor that changes the course of history. It's also the pinnacle of disagreements, just like in the Russia and Ukraine conflict. Karl von Clausewitz, the famous military analyst, stated that war is a continuation of politics carried on by other means. The excuse for war has remained the same over centuries, but war itself keeps evolving. Man's earliest ancestors became powerful when they discovered that bone could be a deadly weapon, just like in Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. This has evolved into several landmark weapons that were deadly and extremely powerful at the time. Weapons such as the gladius, a short double-edged sword that kept the Romans on the throne of civilization for centuries, to the use of cannons and gunpowder that devastated the world for years. The technological bursts of the 21st century have made the world a better place. Nevertheless, it's also revolutionized the weapons of warfare. The use of drones to gather military intelligence and to neutralize an enemy has proven to us that the future of wars will not be a war of dexterity and manpower, but a war of complex artificial intelligence. The Russia-Ukraine conflict has made it so clear that new technologies have displaced traditional warfare. The Ukrainian forces have been armed with the most sophisticated defensive weapons in human history by Western powers, and Russia keeps revealing jaw-breaking technologies with deadly effects. In this video, we'll be covering some of that technology used in today's modern conflict. The Javelin is a crazy fire-and-forget anti-tank missile. What this simply means is that when the Javelin is fired, it automatically directs itself to the target without ever missing it. The operator does not need much skill at all to fire, and this gives the operator ample time to take cover or to fire another missile. Jack Murphy, an American journalist who's been covering the Ukraine-Russia conflict, stated that the Javelin has a whopping kill rate of 93%. He wrote that out of 300 shots fired, the Javelin destroyed 280 Russian armored vehicles. The Javelin has a gentle start, which reduces smoke and debris, and thus makes it difficult for enemies to see where it was launched from. The enemy does not know when it was fired, and it rarely misses. The shape of the missile resembles that of a javelin, and the way it is propelled out of the launch tube defines the missile's name. A launch motor fires to throw the missile out of the launch tube, and the flight motor ignites after the launch, propelling the Javelin to the tanks. It has a tandem warhead which creates a channel into the reactive armor of the tank or simply blows it up, allowing the main warhead to do the real job of destroying the tank. It also has a thermal scanner, and so it destroys any vehicle that emits heat from a range of 2.5 miles. The Javelin is no simple invention. It was feared by the Russians, and they were right to fear it. The Ukraine military claims that Russia has lost 335 tanks and over 1,100 armored combat vehicles since the introduction of Javelin to this war. There are photos circulating online showing metal canopies carefully placed on top of Russian tanks to blunt the Javelin's top-down attack. This is evidence that Russia is doing all they can to neutralize the Javelin, but even this has proven difficult. The Javelin is a symbolic weapon in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and this image of a Ukrainian saint clutching a Javelin weapon will forever be emblazoned in our memories. The Kamikaze drone. Both the Ukrainian and Russian armed forces have employed the use of powerful kamikaze drones in this ongoing conflict, with devastating effects for both sides. They're called suicide drones because, unlike other drones, the kamikaze drones are disposable. They are designed to explode once they hit the target, detonating their warhead and getting destroyed in the process. This is also why they earned the name kamikaze, meaning divine wind, from the Japanese 16th century tale of a typhoon that dispersed a Mongol invasion threatening Japan. The kamikaze is swift and quietly fetches its target without making a sound. They are small, easy to handle, and can be fired from a distance. Kamikaze drones circle the area where the potential target is and strikes once the enemy target is identified. It strikes only once. The kamikaze drones employed by Russia are called the Shahed drones, and they are deadly weapons produced in Iran. A Shahed drone is capable of payloads of about 50 kilos. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is particularly wary of these weapons and has accused Moscow of spreading terror among civilians using these drones. The Ukrainian kamikaze drones are called Ram-2 drones, and they are less sophisticated than their Russian counterpart. They can carry about 3 kilograms of warhead and can fly for about 18 miles. MAVIC drones. DJI produces some of the world's most popular drones, and they're actually being used in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. These drones are so effective in surveillance, and they effectively carry out their operations without being noticed by enemy troops. We're now in a world where we are no more in need of ineffective human spies, and cheap MAVIC drones that can be purchased by anyone have proven that beyond doubt. The commercial MAVIC are sometimes fitted with small bombs, and they can become deadly if properly used. In this footage right here, you'll see two MAVIC drones in air-to-air combat against each other. This was a Ukrainian drone versus a Russian drone. Two MAVICs duking it out. Pretty crazy. I believe this is the first instance of a commercial drone engaging another commercial drone in a conflict, period. This is one of the most popular drones used in the war, as many paramilitary and volunteer fighters also employ the use of these drones frequently. It's also easy to purchase. So, do you think it's a good idea for militaries to be using drones instead of humans? Let us know down in the comments on your thoughts on drone warfare. STARLINK. Some of you will remember Elon Musk's response to Mikhailo Fedorov's tweet earlier this year when he promised to give Starlink service to Ukraine for free as part of his contribution to Ukraine. For those of you who do not know who Fedorov is, he's the Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine and the Minister of Digital Transformation. Elon meant every single word he tweeted and kept that promise, a promise that gave Ukraine a morale boost on the battlefield. Starlink terminals are exactly what Ukraine needed. They were created to provide internet to places where internet connectivity was not possible. Places like the middle of the ocean, villages, and places where internet connectivity is generally limited. Russian missile and drone attacks and heavy shelling have left the power infrastructure in Ukraine devastated. So without Starlink, Ukraine could potentially be cut off from the outside world. Starlink terminals are small and easy to conceal from the enemy. It's arguably the lifeline of Ukraine in this war. It's via Starlink terminals that Ukrainian artillerymen receive orders from their superiors, and the locals are certain of Western support via this. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is definitely the future of the world, and its impact on the Russia-Ukraine conflict has been enormous. Vladimir Putin, Russia's president, famously stated in 2017 that whoever is the leader in artificial intelligence will become the ruler of the world. These are not empty words, as Russia has employed the use of artificial intelligence in the ongoing war to analyze battlefield data. Have you ever seen a realistic video that turned out to be fake? Those are actually called deepfake videos, and they're the perfect work of artificial intelligence. Both Russia and Ukraine might create these videos in order to mislead the masses about the war. In addition, Ukraine partnered with Clearview AI, and they offer the Ukrainian military software that uses facial recognition to discover the social media profiles of deceased soldiers so they can notify their families about their deaths. Primer, a world-renowned AI tech company, also processes intercepted Russian communications and automatically highlights relevant information to the Ukrainian military. This has helped Ukraine stand against mighty Russia in the most remarkable way. The problem with AI is simple, and everyone knows it. The creation of autonomous superweapons that select targets and eliminate them without human control is just frightening. This has not been fully established, and to be fair to the AI community, they are very much against this. However, some weapons used in the Russia-Ukraine conflict have a degree of autonomy already, such as the deadly Turkish-made TB2 drone, which we'll talk about next. The Turkish TB2 drone. The Turkish TB2 drone is a perfect example of artificial autonomy in war. It does almost everything itself. It can take off, decide to land, and cruise. The TB2 is just in control of its own world. It uses lasers to direct strikes, and when it strikes, it almost never misses. Unmanned autonomous vehicles can fly up to 138 miles an hour and can transport ammunitions up to 330 pounds. Even though this drone is mostly autonomous, the most important responsibility of the TB2 is still under human control. The TB2 will never drop the laser-guided bombs it carries unless a human operator decides to do so. Alright guys, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I know this is a little bit unusual compared to what we have done in the past. But if you like this type of content, please let us know down in the comments, like the video, and we will continue to make more and do more exploratory technology videos. Again, thank you for your time, and we'll catch you on the next video.